Hello, in this lesson I'm going to show you the commands stretch, trim and extend. So let's begin with stretch. We just choose the command with left click on the mouse. So what we can do is we can stretch any objects like polygons, polylines, rectangles, but not lines. So this command is only just for purpose of stretching objects. So we need to select which object. Let's, for example, say this one here. The main tip about this command is that you have to know which side of the object you want to stretch. For example, when you're selecting, if you want to stretch this right side of the rectangle, you just create a select window with left click on the mouse and try to select only that specific side of the rectangle, and then right button on the mouse to exit the selection, and then you click anywhere you want, any point, random point, and left click on the mouse and then drag the mouse without holding any buttons. So I'm just showing you how you're extending. You can go the other way, or this way, or that way. So you can make it even shorter. So if you press escape on the keyboard, that's another tip how to cancel a command in the middle of it. Just press escape. I did that in order to show you about the selection again. So if I click right button on the mouse and repeat stretch, and this time I'm going to select the top side of the rectangle, right button, left, don't hold the button, just drag the mouse. So this time the rectangle stretches up and we're just extending the top side of it. Or we can even make it shorter if you want. So we can now just do a random stretch, or we can just type in some dimensions, like let's say 200 units, and press enter on the keyboard, and that's it. We extend the rectangle by 200 in y-axis direction. So if we want to extend in the same or another object but at an angle, I'll show you how to do that. So we repeat stretch, and let's say this side we want, left button to exit the selection window, and then right button. So first point of stretch, let's say the stretch should start from here, and then we type down open angle bracket 15 degrees, type 15 for the 15 degrees, enter on the keyboard, and as you can see it goes in 15 degrees, and it can go minus 15 degrees towards the x-axis. This is quite similar to all the other commands which we covered as a principle. And let's say what distance, let's say again 200 units, type in 200 and press enter on the keyboard, and from this point which is specified, we stretch that direction, so this side stretch that direction, from this point at an angle of 15 degrees at 200 length. So that's a really good tip for that command. So now let's proceed with trim. Choose the command trim. Trim is for objects and lines, for any type of drawn element you can trim. So for example, if I select this circle, left click on the mouse and right to exit the selection. That means that I can trim any object which does cross the circle. So I need to specify on which side I want to trim on. For example, this line. If I want to trim the line, I can trim on outside of the circle and it will disappear, or inside. If I click inside, you can see the inside bit of the line disappeared. So basically you cut the line up to the selected object. If you want to trim more than one object, for example, let's see all these 3 objects here, you don't have to go and click on each one separately, try to select them. What you can do is just left click on the mouse and drag to make a little selection window. So make sure that you got all the objects which you want to trim into this selection window. Left, as you can see, they've all been trimmed inside of the trimming circle. And I can do the same with these 3 lines. Here you are. And then when you're finished, just press right click on the mouse, enter to exit the command. And all these objects are trimmed. Let's repeat the command again. Right click on the mouse, repeat trim, and what we can do, that's another tip which is quite useful to know about this command, is you can select the selection window 3, 4, 5 objects if you want, and then press right button on the mouse. So now we can trim anything inside of this object. Doesn't matter that they've been selected, because it will trim around the selections. So let me show you, it's quite interesting. If I select this one to be trimmed, it does trim around to this point where the other one starts. So it will be to any starting point of, or any object which is selected will be trimmed down to it. Like, let's say trim this side, or trim that side, or trim that side, or even trim this or that. And this. As you can see, you can press right button to exit the command, select enter. So as you can see, you can do a lot of trimming on one go, instead of doing it one after another, one by one, which is also quite handy to know. And the command, next command, the last one for this lesson, is extend, which is, let's select the command, which is the opposite of trim. So for example, select this circle, let's say, so we want to extend any object or line down to this circle. So press right button on the mouse to exit the selection. So now, if I select a rectangle or polyline which is closed, it's not gonna extend. That's one tip to remember. Objects which are closed objects like polygons, they can be extended with this command. But lines, for example, if I select these 2 lines, they'll get extended. And another tip, if I select them again, they'll just keep extending to the other side of the circle. And this one, which is quite useful to know. Let's try it here. If I select these 2 lines once, it goes to the beginning of the circle. Select them again twice, it goes to the end of the circle which we selected. If I keep selecting, nothing is gonna happen, as you see, because that's the end of the selection area. So let's exit the command, right button, select enter. Let me show you the command again. Repeat extend. Let's come here with all these objects, select them again as before, like all of them together. Right click on the mouse and let's try to extend this little circle. It will go this way because extending area is everywhere. Every dash point is extending area. So if I click on that side of the circle, it will extend this way. If I click on this side of the circle, as you can see, extends the other way to the nearest point. If I click this side of that line, of that section here, it will extend to the nearest extension area which is selected. If I select the circle, it will gonna go all the way around to the other selection area. I can click here and I can click again to go this way, that way. If I want to keep going this way, I'm just going closer to the edge. Click and click again and goes to the end of any selected extension area. And if I keep clicking, nothing's gonna happen because it just reached the end. Let's show you with this section here. If I click closer to this side where the extending areas are, and I want to go this way, so click once, it went a bit down. I click twice, it goes to the other one. Yeah. Or you can select it like selection window, goes to the next available selection area, select again, goes to the end one. And to exit the command, press the right button on the mouse and enter. These three commands are quite handy and useful for any type of architecture or any drawings. And these are the tips about them. Next time I'm going to start the first part of the architectural drawing tutorial. I will draw a floor plan, and whilst I'm drawing, I'm going to cover up a lot more of these commands, like for example hatch, fillet, break, ellipse, array. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy my lessons, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.